The weekend. The weekend is out the door. It's done. It's over with. It's canceled. Now it's the work week. So let's get to it. We're talking about Pushpa Part 2, The Rule. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this. And just a quick note from our friends over at Blackout Coffee Company, make sure you head over and give them a try. Links in the description. Happy Monday. That's right. It's the end of the week, and here we are. We're all together, and I told you we were going to talk about part 2 of Pushpa today, and I'm a man of my word. For the most part, so we're going to get right into it, all right? Oh boy, let's look at it. Pushpa, The Rule. This is part 2 of 3. The third one hasn't been made yet, so just be warned. All right. 2024, 3 hours and 21 minutes. That is a lie. That may have been the theatrical time. But on Netflix, the only version that you can watch is the Renegade cut, which is the director's cut. And it is exactly 3 hours and 44 whole minutes. We're talking almost just shy of 4 hours. And oh boy, a smuggling kingpin faces off against a vengeful rival while manipulating politics, making big deals, and navigating tense confrontations. A public apology leads to a dramatic showdown, ending with a challenge. Once again directed by Sukumar, written by A.R. Prabhav, Rajendra Saiper, and Sukumar, starring Allu Arjun, Rashmika Mandana, and Fahid Fasil. Maybe I got at least one of those right. This is on Netflix. Ooh, let's talk about it. All right. Now, the first movie, as with all Indian cinema, the Indian cinema buffet is a place that you sit down and you enjoy yourself and you take time to do that. So Indian cinema, for the most part, is extremely longer than American movies. Now, there are some exceptions. There is some short Indian cinema, but for the most part, you're talking 2.5 to 3 hours long. So at 3 hours and 44 minutes, this one is exceptionally long. And that sounds soul crushing if you're looking for a movie to watch. But I gotta tell you, it is it's fantastic. All right. It is a delight. Now, there's a couple of cons, and we'll get into those. But the pros are this continues the story from the first one, which was The Rise, and this is The Rule, and the third one will be The Rampage. And if I have to explain, think John Wick on steroids. That's what I think the third one will be. All right. So there's some differences in this one and the first one. In the first one, you're dealing with a young coolie man, a day laborer who has nothing. And in this one, you're dealing with somebody who has everything, right? He's made his mark, and he's trying to hold on to it. And the opening takes place in Asia or China or somewhere, all right? Japan, I don't know, one of those places. And it's crazy town, right? It's fantastic opening, but completely like you kind of feel lost right out the gate because the first one didn't end in a foreign country. So it takes a little getting used to. It's a bit of a shock, but fantastic opening. Really throws you right into the movie until that scene is over and you go back to where this all starts, and Pushpa is waking up from having a bad dream at home. So that's in the future. That's in this movie, but in the future of this movie. So they've shown you an intro of basically the middle of the movie. And the character is quite a bit different. This movie is more cartoony in some aspects, but still solid storytelling. But it took me a while. In the almost 4 hours, for an hour of it, I did not like this version of Pushpa. I really fell in love with the character from the first movie. Well, this is a changed man. This is somebody altogether different because he rules the area that he lives in with an iron fist, basically. Like what he says goes. And he's braggadocious and just, it's a little weird. It's a little unlike the first one. So, and I don't know why I felt that way because the story, I was with it. I was right there. I was down to watch this story and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But it takes a little getting used to in relation to the first one. Now, you have to keep in mind when the first one came out, there was a couple years between the first one coming out and the second one coming out. Well, I watched it in just a couple of days, the first and the second one. So I would say maybe with that longer time of waiting, it's not so right there on the edge of your mind what you saw in the first one, so you can be a bit different in the second one. It's not in a bad way. Don't get me wrong. It's a continuation of a man's journey, and now he's much bigger than what he was in the first one. In the first one, you're dealing with his desire to be the man. And this one, for the most part, you're dealing with the man, right? He's married. His wife is pregnant. Like this storyline is different. And it will keep you on the edge of your seat because he's having to play a game of Tetris to keep everything going. And if you slight him, then he has to change the pieces to fit the way he wants. And it brings a really interesting, like edge of your seat urgency to everything going on. You still have some of the main players as far as the bad guys from the first movie. You are introduced to some new characters, but solid continuation. Now the first movie, when something major happens, it just ends, but it's not major enough that you feel shock at like it wasn't a cliffhanger. It just the movie ended. In this one, it's quite the cliffhanger. Once it ends, that was quite frustrating knowing I'm going to have to wait several years to see the rest of it, to see how it ends. Of course, I have an idea, and you will too if you watch this, but you don't know for sure. This movie will take you, it's a stressful 3 hour and 44 minutes, and then near the end, I mean, you're crying there's such a feel good moment amongst all these feel bad moments, and you're just all twisted up. And then something happens massively that's going to alter everything massively, and the movie ends. So prepare yourself for that. That was a bit frustrating. Some of the special effects, my biggest con with this movie was some of the special effects were lacking and obvious. And it may be because it's such a lengthy movie, like they spent so much time on the main part of the movie, and then the special effects, the computer generated special effects, they suffered a little bit. But the wire work, the action, that's all top tier. Fantastic. Stunning. If you love action movies, this is like nothing you've ever seen before. Now, I've seen stuff like this before because it's always in Indian cinema. But this is literally, I say this all the time, Indian cinema is literally a fantastical, up to 11 80s movie. And I say that in a loving way, like the action packed, like the men are tough and the women are beautiful, and there's a love story involved. Two people are going to fall in love, but there's also going to be crazy fight scenes. Like everybody's basically a demigod when it comes to the fight scenes in Indian cinema. They'll smack somebody and send them 50 feet away, like just make them fly through the air. Like it's fantastic. It's what you always want in an action movie. Now, there'll be some people that say, oh, this is not realistic. No crap. It's not supposed to be realistic, but it's the hero, and he fights like the hero. So if you're expecting some normal action movie, this ain't for you, my friends. But if you're expecting top tier hero action movie like what we used to have in the 80s and early 90s, this should be on your plate to watch. I can't say it enough. You need to watch the first one, which is on Prime, and the second one is on Netflix. I am so sad that the third one is not out. Like, really. It was really aggravating. But what a fun time. Even I struggled with the time. Like, I was looking at how long it is, and I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, that's almost past my, like, I don't know. And I struggled with sitting down to watch it. But the moment I pressed play, oh, I was in it to win it, my friends. I was there for the long haul. And you will be too. It's crazy town. All right, that's it. The new week has started. What a fantastic movie. Really, really enjoyed it. And just so you're aware, because full transparency, I'm talking about Indian cinema again on Wednesday. Something completely different, but starring the same guy in an earlier role. So there's that. Now for Friday, who knows? It's going to be a surprise for both of us. All right, I'm out of here. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day and a start to your week. For Michael, the microphone, Bob, squeaky chair in the back, and this Indian cinema loving dude. We'll see you then.